Hello, hello, hello. It's Kyle Van Voorst with Voorst.com, and today I'm going to be sharing with you how to create bulletproof deal stages. So throughout your company's life cycle, you'll be able to accurately track where deals are across the sales process, but more importantly, use that data to do deep analysis when you need to try to identify bottlenecks in your process. Let's jump right in. Alrighty, so deal stages are a big challenge for a lot of people. One of the more common issues I run into when working with earlier stage companies is they don't have very good deal stages. And it might not seem like it matters. Isn't it just where the deal is? Can't we just have any deal stages? But it actually really does. And the reason is because you want to be able to use the information from the deals that you have in your CRM in order to do analysis to improve your results later on. And if you're not tracking things right from the beginning, what often happens is you go and do an analysis and you're not able to learn anything, and it can create a lot of friction when trying to improve your sales process. You're not going to fall into that trap because I'm going to help you by walking through some deal stages and, more importantly, how to think about deal stages so you can create your own that make a lot of sense, that work really well, but maybe even more importantly, are going to scale with you as your company starts to grow. And if you like this kind of content, make sure you like, comment, and let me know, subscribe. It helps us out a lot, and I'll keep creating stuff like this. For now, let's jump into the deal stages, and I'm going to explain each one to you and why you would use them. All right, so what we're going to be doing here is we are going to be looking at the stages and the descriptions. I'll get to the exit criteria in a minute, but I want you to understand all of the stages at a high level before we start talking about exit criteria. So the first stage typically is a stage called qualifying. The description is the salesperson meets with the prospects and figures out if they qualify as a sellable opportunity. Now, you'll notice it says optional here. The reason why this is optional is because some companies, anybody will qualify for, and then you don't need a qualifying stage in your sales process because if they book a meeting with you, they're qualified. This goes for tools where they sell something that anybody could purchase. That's something that they're not really as worried about qualifying. The next stage here, which is where those types of companies would jump right to, is either discovery or a demonstration. Now, sometimes if you're a really complex sale, you'll split these two stages up. For the most part, it works well as is here. Now I'll read you the description. The sales rep has a deep discovery call to understand the needs of the prospects, or runs a demonstration of the solution and how it will solve the prospect's challenges. So those are the two options there. The more complex your sale, you lean more to a discovery, and then you might do the demonstration later. For the most part, you're going to be mixing these two together, or your qualification stage will also be enough of a discovery in order to do the demonstration if you're selling into the mid-market or SMB space. The next stage here is evaluating. Now, this is when the prospect has indicated they're evaluating you as a potential vendor, but they have more to evaluate before getting into pricing. You'll typically see this if you do a free trial and they're going to be on a trial before making a purchasing decision. You'll do this if you're in a competitive situation. If you sell a more complicated sale, then this is going to be something that's very common where they're going to be talking to other vendors, and you might have a couple of meetings within this evaluating stage. And I'll talk about exit criteria in a minute, but that's really going to be important before moving to this next stage, which is negotiation. So the description here is the sales rep and the prospect will discuss pricing and potentially negotiate. This is when you're really talking dollar and cents. What's it going to take in order to make this deal happen? If you don't negotiate on pricing, this might be less meaningful for you, so you would remove it. Contract sent here. This is when you've sent the contract to the prospect. You're waiting for a signature. And then close one. These are deals that have signed the contract and they're now paying customers, yay. And then there's close loss. This can happen at any point within the sales process. The prospect indicated that they will not be moving forward, or they go dark for an extended period of time and you're going to close loss that opportunity. Now, having your stages is step one. That's really important. You have to know your stages, what they mean. But equally as important, maybe even more important, is the exit criteria. What does it take to go from stage 1 to stage 2, from stage 2 to stage 3? If you do not have well-defined exit criteria, each sales rep is going to be using these stages in their own way, and that causes you a ton of problems when it comes time to do any sort of analysis. So let's jump into the exit criteria for each stage as written. So qualifying here, the qualification call is conducted and the discovery or demo is actually scheduled. That's important because here's an example, right? Salesperson 1 might move things to discovery when it's scheduled, and then sales rep 2 may move it before it's scheduled after the first call went well. So now you have two different exit criteria for the same stage. It's impossible to do analysis because what happens is the sales rep 2 who didn't schedule it but had a good call and they're like, oh, let's figure it out over email, that might never get booked. And it might look like you had drop off from that discovery phase because they have already moved it into that stage, but that's not the case. They actually dropped off in qualifying. That's why it's important to have exit criteria is we all have to work with the same definitions. The next exit criteria here, discovery/demonstration. Discovery or demonstration is actually conducted. Prospect indicates that their solution meets their needs. And then their next step is scheduled. For evaluating, technical requirements agreed upon, scope identified, meeting to discuss pricing is scheduled. Notice how I really focus on things being scheduled before the deal stage move. If it's not on the calendar, it's not happening. And that's how you have to operate with your sales team. We have to set clear standards. And I want everybody to be focused on making sure things are scheduled before moving anybody throughout the sales process. Negotiation, pricing is agreed upon, contract is sent. If the contract has not been technically sent, then we're not moving it into contract sent. And then for contract sent, we have prospect signs the contract and the onboarding process has been initiated. Typically what it is that first meeting is scheduled for the onboarding team to actually start rolling out the solution with the customer. Close won, close lost. There's no exiting those stages. Those are pretty locked in. That's it. You have to customize these to your needs, of course, but the key thing I want you to realize is that deal stages have to come with exit criteria. That way you know every sales rep has the same definition of each of the stages. And if you don't hold your sales reps accountable to meeting the exit criteria before changing the deal stage, then you're going to have a really, really messy set of data that's going to hurt you in the future. And hopefully by watching this video, you're not going to fall into that trap.